Hello, Bobby aka Aspie Freethinker here. And in this video, I am going to go over the reasons I am a Libertarian Socialist. Now, from a very young age, I have had an extremely egalitarian and free-thinking anti-conformist consciousness. Although it took time to sort of harden and develop to the area where it is currently. And I've always felt that the fact that you have to pay for healthcare and at some levels education supposedly we have like free public schools in this country, but that's not entirely the case, especially once you get to like high school and college. And all throughout school, schools have a very hierarchical structure, and the more you move up the grades, the more rigid and strict that hierarchical structure becomes. And in the lower grades, you have a little more opportunity for like democratic interaction, but by the time you get to like 8th grade, forget it. That's pretty much quashed, and that's about the same point, by the way, they start beating into you this whole idea of individualism, and the reason they do that, like, it's not because these people actually care about you developing as a healthy individual. They don't. They could not give two shits less about that. No, they simply are trying to keep you from thinking on too grand a scale, right? Because if you were able to do that, then you'd be able to see that there are all these hierarchies working together to keep you down, and And why does that have to be the case? Well, it doesn't, logically, because we're individuals capable of thinking for ourselves and creating our own free democratic societies. But school is not really about education so much as it is about indoctrination. And like, if you look at school textbooks, like the history is very distorted, and it's very one-sided, and it's this, and it tends to promote a very sort of Eurocentric worldview, right? Whereas there's all these other countries in the world, and they may be mentioned in passing, but even then they're mostly mentioned insofar as how Europe has exploited or colonized them, and they're essentially treated as if that's where their history starts and stops, when of course, if you look on the internet, clearly that's not the case. But why is this treated as if it is the case? It's because they're essentially trying to create a world that is so alienated that that everybody is at each other's throats, and so they can't think for 2 seconds long enough to recognize that this is not about liberal versus conservative, black versus white, Jew versus Gentile, so on and so forth. This is about how are you going to run a society. Now you could run it the way it has been run historically, which is on the basis of competition and hierarchy and divide and rule, but then there's another way, which there are several successful examples of throughout history, and that's a society based upon cooperation, democratic organization, free association, direct action. And this has been Bobby, aka SP Free Thinker. Liberty, equality, fraternity, goodbye.